Hello, Reese from the Point Music Podcast thingy. First one for 2023, and I'm so stoked I actually got to spend some time with the guys in The Stranger. They are playing the other festival, which is coming up on January 28th at the Tivoli in Brisbane. Playing with Cog, Osaka Punch, Hot Cobra, The Wrath, Rhino, Maskai Raid, Mind's End, Atticus Champ. It's an epic sort of the lineup of proggy, alt rock, and heavy stuff. So yeah, if you're in Brisbane, January 28th, do that one. We talked about stuff about the whole recording of the live EP, just prog in general because prog, and talked about the last album Kaleidoscope and the new recordings and all sorts of other cool stuff. So I really do hope you enjoy this podcast, ladies and gentlemen, people of all sorts. This is The Stranger. And we got The Stranger. Okay, roll call, please.
That's so good. I'm Drew, a guitarist from The Stranger.
Yep.
I'm Cameron, also a guitarist.
I'm Tom, not a guitarist of The Stranger.
Okay. I'm Link. I play the not guitar, but still a guitar.
Dad bass.
The bass.
The dad
dad
guitar.
guitar.
If you look behind me, right there, man. So,
yeah.
Nice.
all right.
Fella.
Is it a framed picture of Tom? I don't
It's a frank picture of Tom. I've been trying, man. I've been trying to get that. Though it's all on the dark web. I can't really, I don't have enough in crypto to get that
My
shit.
dark web pictures?
All right, so I've been asked by the powers that be to interview you guys in regards to the upcoming The Other Festival, which looks to be a pretty epic collaboration of old metal and rock, man. We all know Cog and how amazing Cog are. I've known those dudes since I'm going to show my age here, since I started. I supported them in bands back in 2000, 2001. So
Yeah, damn, dude.
yeah, I've been around. So those guys are legendary. You got Osaka Punch, who are incredible band. You guys, Hot Cobra, The Wrath, Rhino, who I'm mates with Simon in lovely bunch. Maskai Raid, who took out was it the Triffid album of the year last year? Yeah, Mind's End and Atticus Champ. So man, that's a hell of a lineup. So
Yeah, no, it's really cool. It's this one's cool because for us, we were actually supposed to play a show with Cog and Osaka Punch like ages ago.
yeah, that's the one that got canned, right?
Just due to
2019.
Yep.
Yeah, COVID just messed everything up and it kept getting pushed back, and now it's sort of turned into this little mini festival, which is sort of cool.
So it's like the fifth or
even
sixth
better.
iteration.
Yeah,
It's huge.
I
Yeah.
reckon. Yeah.
Plus, what
So-
was it going to be at the Tivoli, the other show, or was it going to be somewhere else?
Maybe the
Princess Theatre.
Yeah.
So it's still a good venue,
It was
but
originally the Princess, then it got moved to the Tivoli, then it got moved to the Triffid, and now it's back at the Tivoli.
Back at the
Yeah.
Tiv. I love that
Three
stage.
great venues. Yeah.
yeah.
Tiv is like one of our dream venues as well.
Yeah, I've wanted to play the Tivoli for a long time, so this will be really cool. It's I don't know, it's just like this one's sort of been sitting there on the sort of back burner for 2.5, 3 years now.
Yeah.
So we're just really excited to actually play the thing. So,
Yeah.
I bet. I mean, and in relation to that, because you released the live EP, was that the end of last year?
Yeah, it
Yeah.
was
Sort of mid-late last year.
mid-late,
Yeah.
Which is a collaboration of, was it four songs? Most, and all of them are on Kaleidoscope. Is that right?
Yeah.
three of them.
Oh, yeah.
One was up to the debut.
We did Song for Dad from the first one, which was one of the songs I was prouder of on the first album. But yeah, we see the whole thing with our second album is that we released it during COVID, because and I'm sure every band has some version of this story, which is that we had started recording the album and we were about halfway through it when COVID hit.
Yep.
And no one had any idea how long it was going to take. And we were originally like, oh, let's hold off on releasing it until after COVID so that we can tour it properly and all that kind of stuff. But then that just kept getting pushed out and pushed out. And so eventually we just went, screw it. We just got to put it out. We can't wait.
Yep.
And although we got to play some really cool shows around Australia earlier this year with
Last year with Voyager, wasn't it?
with Voyager and stuff, which was so much fun. Aside from that, we didn't really get much of a chance to kind of tour and really push Kaleidoscope as hard as we could have. Because we've basically finished writing another album at this point, which we really want to get into. So
I was going to ask
think
about that.
yeah. So I think the live EP for us was sort of like a way to have just another little bit of support and push
content as well.
Content for those songs.
Just in this break where like no one knows what's going on. We don't have a bunch of cash where we can just go and record and put out another album straight away. So having like content that we can just drop. Remember us? Yeah. I'll say, look, we're still around. Yeah. And we had a whole tour planned for it, and just so many things fell over. We managed to salvage like one show.
Yeah.
Or something.
Yeah.
It's just all the ramifications of COVID are really coming through now. Like flights are just fucked.
Yeah.
Like
Yep.
even just to Melbourne in like 3 months notice.
Yeah.
Still
half the venues that we were going to play on the tour now don't exist in the time that the event
bands have broken up.
Yep.
To pull out the day before, or
that's it, man. But not to belabor the point, but either way, it's just we wanted to do those songs justice if we could, but just COVID didn't really allow for it. So
I can do you one better. At least you got to release the album.
True. What's going on there?
We've been sitting. One of the bands I'm in has been sitting on an album. It was supposed to be released in April of 2020.
Damn.
Still hasn't come out.
Jeez, okay. Is this like what's happening there? Is there a plan?
Yeah, it's just taking time. We managed to release another single, and we've still been gigging in that. But like, there was supposed to be like a full tour, and and then another band I'm in, I managed to record a whole album during COVID, basically, and it will see the light of day like in 2 months' time. And like you guys, I was running out of content, so I released a remix EP of tracks off that album before the actual album comes out.
Yeah, sick. We'll just call it like a teaser, right?
Yeah, pretty much, but it was remixes of singles that had come out anyway, so it was just kind of like, I'll play that fairly safe. But
well, I mean, the thing is, these days, the way that people consume songs has changed so much as well. And I think this is a conversation that we as a band are going to start to have because, we've released 2 kind of full-length albums now.
Yep.
And, we'll likely still have albums that are whole albums down the line, but the way that those things get released, I think, is going to change in terms of like, it seems like the way to do things nowadays is just have a new track that comes out once a month.
If you look at Melbourne's Loser, like those guys have developed their, because do you guys know who Loser are?
Not familiar.
No, they're a really hyped up grunge band. Well, they're kind of, I don't know, alt rock, I would say. Amazing band from Melbourne, and they hit their stride. They've already released 2 albums in this whole period of like COVID-y weirdness shit. And now they're doing an EP, and they're doing the drip feed thing, which you guys are basically alluding to, right? So 1 track per month, basically. They're calling it a Netflix-style delivery system or some shit.
Yeah.
And I see a lot of other artists doing this, and this is why I was going to ask about albums with you. Because firstly, I want to say thank you for getting me to listen to some prog again, because like proper prog, because I haven't listened to proper prog since like freaking Tesseract's. Like, what was it? Sonder, I think it was last time I listened to Tesseract. And
that's so nice to hear, because we once got a hilarious Facebook comment of someone who wanted to take us down, saying that we were just a rock band. So it's great to hear.
No fucking way. You guys, like, you've got, that's pretty proggy with the length of the songs and everything, just the journeys you go on. There's no way you're just a rock band, man. So, no, I mean, I like, because I actually like Porcupine Tree as well. So
yeah, man, I actually really started to get into them in the last couple of months. I can't believe I never had before.
Wow.
Now I'm like such a huge fan, like just in the last couple of
Fear
months.
of a Blank Planet, man. Fear of a Blank Planet.
Yeah. Dude, Anesthetize. That song I just have on repeat, man. Like,
if you can find the full live, there's a full live concert of that. It should be on YouTube somewhere, and they're wearing the tightest of shirts and everything. So so proggy, but it's incredible.
Say no more. Yeah.
Exactly, but. I do have to give you guys kudos for getting me to listen to some prog again, because I've been listening to all sorts of I get a lot of heavy shit come through here, but also like a lot of pop and that. But
Yeah.
no full prog in a good
No worries,
time.
man. Yeah, no, look, the thing for us, like, I feel like I don't know if we ever set out necessarily to be a prog band as such. It just seems to be the label that's the most fitting because we kind of want to be able to do whatever we want and have that be okay. Not have there be any expectation that we're gonna, remain within the confines of a sound. Like, I mean, we've got funk sections, we've got synth, we've got like lots of acoustic stuff.
There's a lot of folky elements in there too that I've noticed.
Yeah, exactly. And I don't feel like you could kind of call yourself anything other than prog if you're going to have all that, because prog's such an umbrella term.
Yeah.
We've progressed past the need for a genre.
But yeah. So no, that's always been what it's about. Like I mean, the band that I used to be in years ago, like I really enjoyed it, but we were very pigeonholed in what we could do. And so when The Stranger came about, I was like, no, fuck that. I just want to do whatever and have it be okay.
There's nothing wrong with that.
No, that's true. The only thing I think you run into with that kind of approach is that sometimes, depending on how you go, you can have such a broad sound that it's hard to appeal. It's hard to market. Yeah, exactly. Like one of my favorite bands is the Deer Hunter.
Yep.
And Casey talks about this as well. He's like, we sound like everyone and no one, therefore we don't really get fans of metal or rock or whatever listening to us. We just kind of get Deer Hunter fans.
Yeah.
And so
but you can establish this and base that. If you look at one of my favorite bands is Biffy Clyro from Scotland. And they are, if you listen to their whole discography, they go all over the fucking place, and they're an incredible band. Like they have elements of prog in there, and then they go to this weirdness and they go a bit of grunge, and then they do this sort of like trap in there. It's bizarre shit, but that's the beauty of being unrestricted and not pigeonholed in a sense, and that's you guys are nailing it.
I think thanks, man. I think what you tend to get at the end of the day is you tend to get people listening to us and bands like us who are just like real fans of music. Like they're music nerds typically. Mm-hmm. It's like you don't really get, people that kind of are jumping on a trendy bandwagon or something like that. It's just like if you've got the patience to sit through a 9, 10, 11-minute song, you're typically like a big music buff. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so that's sort of nice. It means that anyone that I talk to who's like really into our stuff, I know that they've actually listened to it in a way that's in the same way that I would listen to music, which is where it's like an active listening experience, not just like a passive on in the background kind of thing.
Well, I like live shows. I mean, I'm not the person to be at the front. I'm the guy that usually stands out the sound engineer like this, basically.
Yeah.
That's the biggest compliment, though. It's just I'm taking it in.
Yeah.
I don't want to miss it.
Watching our hands, and that's it.
Yeah.
Sort of glued.
Oh shit!
But when that puts so much pressure on you, I always appreciate those like 2 or 3 guys who are actually jumping around.
Yeah.
Thanks, man.
Of course, yeah, definitely. It gives the vibe, right? But you know that meme where they're like, it's this. That's the biggest compliment. Yeah. It is true though, particularly in the heavier genres.
Totally.
You get that nod. You get that. Oh yeah, cool. All right, nailed that bit. Sweet.
I remember the drummer Daniel and I had that moment with each other when we saw Devin Townsend live.
Ooh.
And it was the first time either of us had heard that song March of the Poozers.
Yeah.
And it just comes with that and we just looked at each other like, fuck! That was a moment from then on. I love some Devin.
So, firstly, before we get into the whole recording a new record thing, I do have a question for the guitarist and dad guitar. What's with the fascination with headless guitars and prog?
That's only him.
It's also not because he hates them.
No, you got headless guitar.
No, you hate your guitar.
Oh yeah. So here's the thing. I think it's kind of like that. I think for prog musicians, it's always like I'm looking for that edge, like whatever that tiny little edge is that's going to give me like, a slightly better sound or slightly better tuning stability or whatever. It's just like, prog musicians are the ones that actually care about whether or not the guitar is ergonomic, not just whether it looks cool and sounds rad, you know, like other genres would probably care. It's just like, and so I think the headless thing was sort of like an attempt in that direction.
Yeah.
And look, it's got some, you know, it's obviously got some awesome benefits in that, like, they're smaller and you can fit them on the overhead on the plane.
This
and that
is
kind
true.
of stuff.
I have heard of this. Yeah.
Yeah. And it's very light, very ergonomic, very comfortable. However, I massively regret them because the tuning stability is not as what I hoped, and the actual tuning of them is so fiddly that halfway through, like if we're halfway through a set and I've got to like tune if I've dropped out or whatever, in those moments I'm fantasizing about having a regular
because it's a tiny little knob, isn't it?
I know. And I look over at this dude just tuning like that, and I'm just like, oh, that'd be nice.
You say that, but I'm going to call him out because I have fine tuners on my bridge because I have the.
No, but you have the option. I don't.
Oh, I have the option.
Yeah.
Whereas I'm kind of the opposite. Whereas I absolutely love my headless ones because I was playing Works before and wearing 13 kilos of solid wood.
Yeah.
It just puts strain on your back, and it's like they're so ergonomic and so like the technology behind them is so back in fashion, and I think prog fans just want the newest, latest thing,
or like a dingwall bass as well.
Dingwall bass. It's like technically it's the most precise thing you can get. It's the cutting edge of technology.
I think it's the same kind of personality type that always needs like the latest graphics card in their computer or whatever. It's just the musical
nerds.
100%.
But if you look behind me,
basically,
if you where's it? Hang on, I'll move out of the way. If you see that headstock, can you see the 6-string at the back?
Yeah.
Hang on, just wait there.
Can't quite
wait there.
All right.
I think I recognize it.
You can't hear it.
Is it a chord?
I think it's a chord. No.
Is it?
Oh no.
What is it?
Fender?
Oh yeah.
Oh my god,
That's ginormous.
Yeah, it's massive.
Damn, dude.
It's fucking huge.
That fucking thing is a reason why I go to an osteo once a month now.
Yeah, that is a large boy, right?
That is a machine.
Large boy.
You can land a plane on that goddamn thing. I don't use that one live anymore.
No, you can't.
Absolutely.
It's
fair.
too heavy. But yeah. So I understand the headless thing now. I mean, I love that thing. It's got a wicked tone, but at the same time, no, touring with it is a fucking nightmare.
For sure, man.
All right. So, firstly, where was Kaleidoscope recorded?
Mostly at my house. So I produce for a living. So I work with a lot of local bands around the area and that kind of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So the way that I typically tend to work is we'll hire out a big studio for the drums because you need that big live room sound. You need all that kind of stuff. But everything else nowadays, there's basically no longer an argument you can make to say that recording in a big studio for anything other than drums is going to result in a better sound. It's just not necessary.
No.
So basically we recorded drums down at the, I believe now defunct Studio Circuit on the Gold Coast, which was a really beautiful studio. I'm not sure if the building itself is still in use, but it's no longer Studio Circuit. Anyway, we got an amazing deal down there. That was really good. And then, we just recorded the rest of my house, just using Act Effects for guitars, just straight PI for the bass. And it's like just simple setup. Like, I think it's so awesome that we now live in an age where you don't need to fork out $200K to have a decent sounding album.
Bingo. Because to be honest with you, I actually thought it was a really super dense. I thought it wouldn't sound like one that's just recorded through plugins to me. It actually.
Oh, well, thank you, man.
It's a big fucking album. So I mean, I understand the drum thing. I've done the same thing, but the rest of it, I would never have picked that. It would have been just on a Mac, plugins. Yep, cool.
Well, thanks, man. I really appreciate that. The as far as the production goes, I did everything except mastering, which we got Ermin Hamidovic from Melbourne to do, who's gotten quite famous in the last 10 years because of his work with Periphery and Animals as leaders and Plenty and basically all the prog boys. And he did an amazing job. Like, Ermin was able to kind of just really finish off the low end for me in a way that I kind of struggled to do on my system.
Yeah.
Just he is who he is. And yeah, so and also having a really good mastering engineer, even if they don't do much to your mix, it's still really nice to have someone like a really high quality set of ears at the end of the chain who to kind of sign off everything. So
and to give feedback and everything.
Yeah, for sure. And he gave me some great feedback that I was able to use in further, in later mixes and stuff with other bands. But I was quite happy about the fact that it sounded pretty similar when I got it back from him. So that was like a little stamp of approval for me. It felt good.
Just louder, basically.
Yeah,
a bit louder.
Yeah. But no, it was one of those things where every time you make an album, you learn so much. And you come up with 100 things that you do differently next time. And I have to keep quelling that impulse inside of me that's just like, oh, maybe we should re-record it, hey, because I'm just not happy with this.
The tracks are never done. That's what I had to learn when I was doing my bits. You keep on adding and just going, shit, what am I doing? Just pull it back and just be
No, exactly. You got to leave it the fuck alone, right? It's done, move on, do new stuff.
I've actually got something in front of my desk here because this is basically I don't have a studio per se. This is basically my house and my desk, and I've got a little saying no, it's good, and I've got like brackets around the K and the W, so like no, it's good, and no, it's good. Basically, it's a healthy reminder to basically stop.
Leave it alone, right?
Yeah, stop picking at it. Basically,
Don't scratch it.
It's the internal struggle.
It's got to bleed. Stop it.
This genre probably, I don't want to say it suffers the most from that, but it is one of, I'm sure, a small amount of genres that heavily suffers from that because the limitations really aren't there. We don't have to conform to like radio playtime.
It's easy to bloat it, right?
Exactly. And it's celebrated too. If a prog band announces a release and someone sees that a track's going to be 20 minutes, there's no question about like, is that just like 18 minutes of filler? It's like, oh my God, 20-minute song. This is going to be amazing. It could be amazing, or it could be some bloated piece of track.
It could be a 20-minute solo.
It could be white noise.
We'll announce that now. We're releasing 4 20-minute solos.
Just do it. Looking forward to the 20-minute bass solo, basically.
Yeah.
But do you do jazz scat solo?
Yeah, do it. Just put some vocoder on that shit and it'd be pretty wicked. So has the preparation for the new record, so you guys actually on the way of doing this new record now?
Yeah, man. So basically we're at a point now where all we've got left to do is write the music for half of a song. And kind of get vocal. We've got vocals more or less done for a couple of them. So yeah, one song has half the music left to write, and then there's probably about 3 or 4 songs to finish vocals for, and then we'll be good to get into the studio to lay stuff down properly. I have to say, in terms of kind of what we're aiming to achieve with this album, it is a little bit more ambitious than what we've done in the past. We are kind of aiming for a concept album this time around, which is something that we've attempted in the past and had to abandon halfway through because, honestly, I just don't think we were good enough songwriters to pull it off at the time.
I think saying halfway is pretty generous as well.
But yeah, so this time around, we've got a much more, I think, interesting and kind of juicy theme that's been a lot more... I don't know. It's inspired me a lot more. I know that much because it allows for a lot of freedom in what we want to do with music. And I think the first time we attempted the whole concept album thing, we were writing songs that were good, but they just didn't feel like they sort of fit the flavor of the story.
Whereas for this one, we had the concept first.
Yeah.
And then wrote songs to suit the theme, picked songs out of our backlog of fucking riffs and shit, which is the folder called Riffs and Shit.
Yeah.
that suited the theme. And like, let's flesh out this one, and they can be these chapters in the story.
So are you
Also,
developing characters as well in this regard?
Yeah. It basically is going to play out like a story, like a movie. And like on the topic of movies, like I've shown some of the demos to a few people, and I keep getting the same feedback from people, which is that it has a real cinematic feel to it.
Okay.
So yeah, I think if anyone who's listening knows or cares about our band, that's what you can expect from the next release is some big, large, cinematic sounding stuff.
So you're going all Atticus Ross and Trent Reznor on this shit.
Oh,
not that.
not quite.
Yeah.
Yeah.
but still fun. Lots of
Yeah.
themes.
Yeah.
Lots of
There's
cool
still riffs.
Yeah. We
And
got
shit.
lots of riffs, lots of all the things, all the different sounds, clean vocals, harsh vocals, but lots of other stuff as well. So it's gonna be really cool.
And not to sound like probably every other band that talks about the newest release compared to the previous, but I do feel like this, I'm just going to call it release, third release, is a perfect mix of the first two albums.
Yeah.
With the second one, we really tried to make that its own thing. Still progressed from the first, but really try and make it its own thing.
And each song its own thing too.
Yeah, it was more about having individual songs, definitely not going for some crazy concept, and definitely leaning into making sure each song could well and truly stand on its own. And then this next one has a bit of everything from both of those, but also where we've progressed to beyond the first two albums as well.
Our writing, our collaboration together as well this is really the first thing that everyone's really pitched in on. To a really substantial amount. Like we've all got stuff that we did for Kaleidoscope, but it was bits and pieces here and there. These two did most of the thing, like 80% of the whole album.
Yeah.
Whereas this is very much a team effort.
So yeah, it's people can expect some of what they already know, but a whole bunch of stuff that they haven't heard before either. So kind of, I guess, what you'd hope to do with a new release, right? Which is like not scare people away, but take them to new realms of discovery. Yeah.
Unless you like Coldplay or something like that, and then you don't want to know.
Yeah.
Coming soon, warm play.
Not to rip on Coldplay. I actually like Russia.
No, I like some Coldplay.
Russia Blood.
You don't want to
Head's
listen to Coldplay during a breakup. That's a bad one. But they're a great band.
Well, man, we're heading towards 27 minutes and everything, so I am going to wrap this up because otherwise things get too bloated. As I learnt from the hard slog of doing podcasts, people don't like 40-minute podcasts when it's talking about music, unless you're fucking Joe Rogan and people will listen for half.
For sure.
I was going to say, dude, I could listen for hours. I very much enjoy many hour-long podcasts.
Yeah, so do I, because I travel like half an hour to work every single day, and that's what I do.
It feels my drive.
Yeah. But guys, it's been an absolute pleasure talking to you. Hang on the line, I'll have a quick debrief. But apart from that, the other festival, January 28th at the Tivoli. You guys, The Stranger, with Cog, Osaka Punch, Hot Cobra, The Wrath, Rhino, Maskai Raid, who are an amazing band as well, Mind's End, and Atticus Chimp. Woo! So it should be a good one.
Thanks so much.
You're welcome.
Yeah, come on down.
Right?
Yeah.
We're on a date.
Now, hang on the line there. Everyone else, adios. Thank you for listening to this latest podcast episode of the Point Music Podcast Thingy. Big shout out to The Stranger. Awesome guys. And dude, if you want some decent dose of prog and sort of alt rock in there and you're in the area in Brisbane, head to the Tivoli on January 28th. The tickets are on sale and it should be a wicked one. Thank you for tuning in. More coming. Let's kick this 2023 in the ghoulies and get things going. Thank you for supporting local music, live music, all sorts of music. You guys are awesome. Cheers.